this is Michelle Nicolaisen with Bombshell.com, and this is a quick video about how to set priorities. So the thing that people have a lot of problems with is setting priorities. We've all got so many things tugging on our time and our attention and our energy, whether it's life stuff, family stuff, work stuff, business stuff, and it's really hard to know what's worth putting your time and energy and attention into. And so recently when I taught the live round of Rock Your Systems, I taught the participants an easy way to filter, whether that's for your goals, your tasks, or your systems. And they found it really useful, so I wanted to teach it to you guys. The great thing about this is that you can use this sort of system for filtering when it comes to deciding which business systems to work on, like which business systems you need to prioritize setting up, which goals you need to prioritize, or projects more likely, which projects you need to prioritize, which need the most attention from you right now, and which tasks you need to prioritize. And you can do that, so you can use this when you're setting yearly plans, when you're doing monthly or weekly or quarterly plans too. It works on both a micro and a macro level. So the first step is that you need to know your big vision. And when I say big vision, what I mean is it's not really quite the same as a goal. So it's about clarity, not about details. It's about saying, okay, well, in 1 year and in 5 years, I want to be doing this, this, and this. And like being really clear on what it's going to look like, but maybe not necessarily how it's going to happen. So an example of a big vision is like, in a year, I want 75% of my coaching practice to be group work and 25% to be one-on-one work, versus right now where it's almost exactly flipped. Or in 5 years, I want the bulk of my income to come from speaking and writing, versus right now where it's mostly group work, right? So it's about being really, really clear on what it is that you're aiming for, and it kind of helps to focus as sort of like a North Star guiding light type thing when you're making plans and goals and everything else. You start with your big vision and you work backwards from there. And I encourage people to have a 1 year and a 5 year big vision, just because, just because I personally find that doing anything after 5 years, like after 5 years, it starts to get a little fuzzy. But on the other hand, if you're only doing like 1 or 2 year big visions, then it can keep you way too focused, like in way too much of a reactive mode. And a big part of this is about getting you out of reactive mode. So that's why I encourage you to come up with a 1 year big vision and a 5 year big vision. And the big vision, something that's an example of what's not what I mean when I say big vision, would be someone saying, okay, in 1 year, I want 75% of my income to be from group work and 25% to be from one-on-one work. And I want that income to come in via these 6 income streams, which will be split up in these specific ratios, which I am going to promote in these 3 or 4 different ways. Like, that's not a bad thing to have, or, you know, and all of that's going to total X amount of dollars a month, right? That's not a bad thing to have at all, but that's definitely not what I mean when I say big vision. It's something entirely different. So once you've got your big vision nailed down and you know what it is that you're aiming for, like in the next year and the next 5 years, the next thing you want to do is make a list of everything that you want to sort for this exercise. So that could be your projects for this month or this year. That could be your tasks for this week, or it could be your business systems that you're working on and you're trying to figure out where you need to put the most attention in your business systems, whether that's marketing systems or promotion systems or client and customer follow-up or administrative or teamwork systems, right? So make a list of the things that you're trying to sort. So that would be a list of the projects that you're trying to decide between working on, a list of the tasks that you've got on your to-do plate, or a list of systems that you're trying to figure out how to divvy up your time between. So once you've got that list, the next step is to use the matrix to sort. And I will preface this by saying that number 1, I drew this at about 10 o'clock at night when I was tired. Number 2, I'm a little sleep deprived right now. And number 3, there is a much prettier version of this underneath the video on the blog post. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll include a link to the blog post that has the printable version of the matrix that's much prettier in the description. But just for the sake of having something to look at in this video, this is the matrix that I'm referencing. And so what you'll find is that with each task or project or system or whatever, you're going to find that it falls into one of 4 areas. So the first area is things that are high leverage and also supports your big vision. So if your big vision involves having more recurring revenue on a monthly basis, or having more referrals, then a good place, something that would be a good example of this would be client and customer follow-up systems. Because client and customer follow-up systems not only keep people coming back to you, happy customers coming back to you, but they make it easier for those people to refer other people to you. So that would be a great example of something that would be number one. Something that would be fall number two would be it's something that supports your big vision but is low leverage. So what I mean by low leverage is that like it's not going to be quite as much return on investment for the time, energy, and attention you put into it. With like client customer follow-up systems, a lot of the times, and this is why it's my go-to example of something high leverage, because a lot of the time you can spend 5 hours setting it up and then you reap the rewards for that 5 hours every single month after that, and every time you work with someone after that, and it can increase your bottom line by like 25-50% or something on a month-by-month basis, right? Or sometimes more than that. And something that's low leverage is probably not going to have quite as drastic of a result, right? But it's still worth doing because it's actively moving you towards your big vision. The third area, and this is where me being tired when I drew this comes in, because that's a 2 that was turned into a 3, is things that don't support your big vision but are high leverage. So the disclaimer here is that, of course, if something is actively moving you away from your big vision, then you don't want to do it at all, right? Like if you want to get away from doing one-on-one work and it's something that's high leverage, but it would just be getting you more one-on-one clients, then you don't want to do it. That doesn't make any sense. But there are some things that are not necessarily actively moving you towards your big vision, but they're not necessarily actively moving you away from it either. And they're high leverage, and like just doing them or just getting them done could really increase your bottom line and make things easier for you and your business, right? So if you're going to do this, I would suggest either slotting it in the category of things to do when I have the time and energy, or just paying somebody else to do it so that it gets done and you don't have to worry about it and it's not messing with your day-to-day workflow. The fourth category would be things that are low leverage and don't support your big vision, and you can just throw these away entirely because there's absolutely no point in doing them, right? Like there's no feasible reason that you would do that at all. And this is part of why this exercise is really helpful for people, is because sometimes when they actually sort things, they realize that they've got stuff that they feel like they should do because Guru XYZ told them that they should, or because it works for their friends or whatever, but it doesn't actually work for their big vision and it's not high leverage for their business. So this exercise kind of helps them see that there's honestly really no point in doing it. So once you've done that, you want to narrow it down to 3 priorities. And so like if you've got 3 things that are in this box, then that's great. Work on those, you're done. And once you complete, if those are projects, once you complete those, you can do this again, or maybe move on to things that were in box number 2 or whatever. But you really want no more than 3 priorities, and having less priorities than that is acceptable. So right now my main 3 priorities are working on my book, writing, and speaking, and like that's really it. So if something isn't actively moving me forward on one of those priorities, then I don't do it. And it's really liberating to be able to say that and to know that, right? So that's where this exercise comes in handy. And if you want to have less than 3 priorities, if you've got one really big thing that you're focusing on, or if you're like me and you're working a full-time day job in addition to doing your business, then less priorities than 3 is totally fine. And like with me, writing and book and speaking all kind of tie into each other. So it's 3 separate things, but they very much overlap in the kind of work that I'm doing. So that was my quick little video on how to set priorities as a business owner without wanting to stab yourself in the eye, because I know that it can be really hard to figure out what to spend your time on. Let me know if you have any questions. You can post comments on YouTube or on the blog post. Thanks for watching and have a great day.